I'd like to have a bit of a deep dive on that England performance in Dublin, because there's a massive amount of negativity surrounding it. Reading the newspaper reports on it this morning and reading a lot of the comments on YouTube videos that I posted yesterday, I mean, I understand the frustration. I understand some of the issues that there were with England's performance, but I don't recognise the strength of feeling towards the coach and the tactics. And that's kind of what I want to deep dive in on this here. Perfect example. Let me just go through a couple of the comments on the channel. And please leave your comments on this video. I really appreciate them. And I'm always down there getting stuck in with them as well. So thank you for that. I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers. And one comment from Roger said, England have a doomed strategy. Constant kick chase yields nothing. Stevie says, how much longer is Borthwick going to be given? It's just not good enough. We've got this one from Dom. England, box kick, box kick, box kick. I am done. I'm only watching the under-20s from now on. There's a lot of comments like that. And I get the frustration of a defeat, and particularly with England in a winning position again and managing to fall off in the latter stages of the games. But I'm more along the lines with this comment from Bill Parry, which says, congratulations to Ireland on a brilliant second half, a lesson in control and clinical finishing. As an England fan, the first half gives me hope for the future. That's kind of where I am. Let me know where you are, and let me start at the start, because England's criticism of the amount of box kicking they do, well, have a look at the start of the game and just how well it worked. And this box kicking process, it's not doing it for the sake of it. This is all about trying to move the chess pieces into the position that you want them so that you can then drop the hammer and attack. And I thought England did that really, really well. And the opportunity did come, a wayward kick, and Marcus Smith drops the hammer. England stretch Ireland. They go to the right, and then they come back a couple of phases to the left, and it is on. This is go time right now. England have done everything they want. The execution is poor. Have a look. Caden Murley is way too flat. In fact, he's in front of Freddie Stewart. That is bad positioning from an international winger. But England have done everything right in the build-up to that. They just did not execute. But I honestly thought England were tactically brilliant in the first half. Have a look at this. England are jockeying a little bit, playing a territorial bit of a kicking game, waiting for the mismatch. Another poor kick from Sam Prendergast. And boom, England go. England attack. And England get themselves into a position here, look, where it is 6-on-3. 6-on-3, and Alex Mitchell keeps hold of the ball. This is a bad decision, poor execution. The best teams do not do this. Fortunately, don't take advantage of that one. But England score a much harder to get try seconds later. So they got a try in the end. And it came from the box kicking, the tactical kicking that people are very, very critical of, but I think was really, really good tactical play by England. And they are playing good rugby. They're just doing it when it's on, because Ireland are a very, very good team. So England had scored. You think, right, what we want to do now is just keep going at what we're doing. And what actually happens? Ben Earl drops the restart. A poor error, which, I mean, it's not, on the face of it, you just think, well, that's just a knock-on. But what actually came from this passage of play was the pressure from Ireland, which led to repeated penalties against England, which led to that try, which was then disallowed, but which led ultimately to the referee giving a warning to England, which ultimately later would lead to Marcus Smith getting a yellow card. So these small moments in games, we talk about tiny margins all the time. This is what I'm talking about. One poor restart has the effect of putting England under all that pressure, which ultimately contributed massively to a Marcus Smith yellow card, which had a significant impact on the game. It's tiny margins at this level. And talk about tiny margins, huge England defence, but a disallowed try. I mean, it would have been a try, would have been a brilliant try. And it was such a marginal call. Talk about the tiny margins. This could easily have been a try. Had Ben O'Keefe just said, I'll let the ball play and I'll score the try, and I'll say on-field decision try, but let me go and check with the TMO, that try gets given, because it's not conclusive that Maro Itoje knocked that on. I'm not complaining about the decision. Ben O'Keefe gave what he thought he saw, but it could easily have been a try for England. And it came from kicking into the right area of the pitch and then putting massive defensive pressure on. That's the tactics that Steve Borthwick set them up with, and it could easily have led to an England 14-0 lead. Have a look again, though, at this little clip. Have a look at Finlay Bealham saying to the referee, knock on, knock on. And And I will never know if that's the reason why Ben O'Keefe gave the knock on. It might have been, and in which case, fair play, Finlay Bealham. That's rugby smarts on display. And you know what? Decisions go for you, some go against you. On another day, that's a try, and England are 14-0 up. As it is, what then happened soon afterwards is Ireland get their try, and that came from another England error. Slow ball. Ireland are speculatively passing. England have got numbers covered. And not only, when you look at this picture here, do I think, yeah, England have got this covered. Not only will Alex Mitchell make that tackle on James Lowe, but look, Tom Curry is lurking there in the wide channels. And Ireland found themselves isolated out wide with one of the Currys out there waiting to go and pounce on the ball a lot. And looking at this picture here, I would be thinking a possible outcome is an England turnover from this breakdown. Instead, Alex Mitchell goes too high. James Lowe has great power, and it's try time. And that's the difference in execution. England don't take their chance. England make errors, and Ireland take full advantage. It could have been 14-0 to England. It's a 2-point game instead. And these are the tiny margins at the top. And how can you blame Steve Borthwick for that? I don't get it. And to address the criticism that all England do is kick, I've seen this a lot. All England do is kicks, just constant box kicks. Well, that's not true. I think I've already shown why they do it, to engineer the play in the right part of the pitch how they want it. But have a look at this. England are on halfway, 39 minutes in, and they play lots of phases. And again, they get the chessboard in the position they would want. Look at all the space. Look at how few Irishmen there are there. And again, better execution, better teams will take full advantage here. England don't. You could maybe criticise Luke Cowan-Dickie not really being enough of a threat as a potential ball carrier, so Bundee Aki's able to just step across. Equally, you can just say, fair play, what a brilliant read from Bundee Aki, makes the tackle, but England come away with 3 points from that exchange. I don't know what more England fans want than what I've just shown in the clips there. This is Test match rugby at the highest level, and they're playing it against Ireland away and doing brilliantly. It is tiny margins. So half-time, it's 10-5. 41 minutes. England start the second half again, exactly where they left off in the first half. Perfect rugby, except for a forward pass, which Ben O'Keefe gives. Now, this is as marginal as it gets. You know what? Some go for you, some go against you. I don't think it's helpful to moan about decisions like this. But it just highlights that it's such small margins at the top. And it's also a marginal scrum penalty that comes from that very next scrum. So England, at one moment, attacking Ireland on their 5-metre line, are now back on halfway and Ireland have the ball. And that's only compounded by the fact that Caden Murley possibly makes him... Well, if Caden Murley makes a mistake here, it's not catching the ball on the full. I think he touched it, which is why he tried to run the ball out. So I'll give him a pass on that one. But suddenly, Ireland have a 5-metre scrum and England are stuck in their own half. And the pressure that builds up in this period is what leads to the Bundee Aki try again, which is just an example of Ireland executing in a way that England didn't. You have to say, what an absolutely brilliant finish, though, don't you? So it's 10-all at this point. It's game on. There's a restart. So England are thinking, okay, we've been camped in our own 22. Let's kick the ball and we'll get some territory. They do better than that. They win the ball back. But what then results is a very soft penalty on Henry Slade. Now, Ben O'Keefe's come under a lot of criticism following the game. It was actually the assistant referee that called this one in, not Ben O'Keefe. Ben O'Keefe's just listening to his assistant referee. I thought that was a really soft penalty on Slade. But you know what? Some go for you, some go against you. Take that one on the chin. But it just was followed up by the same assistant referee calling in again. It wasn't Ben O'Keefe. It was this same assistant ref calling in the softest of penalties on Maro Itoje, which was really, really harsh. And Ireland are now 13 points to 10 up. Tiny moments have much, much bigger impacts. And England were maybe arguably even more unlucky because neither the referee, the TMO, or that assistant referee who called in a couple of, in my opinion, soft pens, didn't call in this to even look at the tackle from Caelan Doris on Tom Curry. Now, this is just one of the things that happens when you're playing away from home. I think it was even put up on the big screen. And had this tackle been put up on the big screen, but it was Tom Curry tackling Caelan Doris, the crowd would have been baying for blood. When you go away from home, the crowd were, funnily enough, very quiet about this one. But I'm surprised that the TMO didn't even want to look at it. That would have, at the very least, been 13-all for England with 60 minutes. And as well as poor accuracy from England, errors was the issue. Already talked about the missed tackles, Caden Murley in his own dead ball area, Chandler Cunningham himself giving away a penalty on Hugo Keenan. And again, I know I do understand England fans complaining that the referee gave a warning about players running in and then didn't follow through on it when James Lowe did exactly that. It could have been reversed. I know that's fine, but what you do, you wipe the slate clean and you get on and do your next job. Chandler Cunningham himself, instead of making amends for that marginal decision, which was a penalty, but you wouldn't criticise Chandler Cunningham himself too much for that. What you can criticise him for is not doing his next job, and he leaves a big gap in the English defensive line, leaves a big hole, and Ireland take full advantage. And again, Ireland execute a brilliant try. And again, the first try that Ireland scored was from 50 metres. The second try they scored was from 40 metres out. And England just invite pressure on themselves and concede points because of mistakes. Caden Murley makes a howler, and Tom Curry plays a get-out-of-jail free card with another brilliant turnover to get him out of it. But Ollie Chesham with a free kick error at the line-out, a terrible box kick from Harry Randall, and suddenly Ireland score again, this time from 60 metres out, and it's another error from England. Brilliantly taken from Ireland, really well worked move, but Theo Dan bites in. Have a look. He stood next to Tom Willis. Tom Willis has got that man covered. Theo Dan steps in to try and hit him, leaving a hole. Henry Slade's the guy that a lot of people have criticised for this try, leaving the hole. It wasn't. It was Theo Dan, steps in, bites in when he didn't need to. Ireland take full advantage. Great break from Jack Conan. England are stretched, and Ireland finish. Their accuracy is fantastic, and this is what the top teams do. And so when you want to criticise England, I don't understand how you criticise the coach, because he's not the one making these errors. And what's interesting about the errors, a lot of them were from players that came off the bench. The impact, not only was the impact from the England bench not good, it was actually detrimental. And Chandler Cunningham himself, Theo Dan, Harry Randall, all made key errors. Ollie Chesham with a free kick as well. All made errors from the bench, which invited pressure on England. And conversely, Ireland's bench was absolutely brilliant. Jack Conan, Dan Sheehan in particular, Jack Crowley were awesome. And again, the difference in the last 20 minutes, you can put down to tiny moments that had a really, really big impact. But to come back overall to my overwhelming thoughts on this game, I just echo the comment by Bill Parry, put on a video yesterday, who said, and I'll say it again, congratulations to Ireland on a brilliant second half, a lesson in control and clinical finishing, yes. And he also says, as an England fan, the first half gives me hope for the future. I thought England did it perfectly, setting themselves up, did not do it perfectly, executing, and did not manage to break the chain when it came to making repeated errors and giving away repeated penalties in that second half. And that's what cost them. And I don't know what Steve Borthwick could have done about that. Maybe you think he should have picked different players, and that's the error that Steve Borthwick made. But tactically, I thought England was spot on. I thought England were not good enough at finishing, and Ireland were brilliant, and that was the game. I'd love to know what you think.